Sarah Rivera watched her future walk out the door, wearing Mark Vance's smug smile. Her words, her vision, her breakthrough idea presented to thunderous applause as his genius. The betrayal wasn't just theft, it was annihilation. And in that frozen moment of public erasure, Sarah made a silent vow. Mark Vance wouldn't just fail, he would fall by her design. Sarah Rivera lived for the spark. As a senior marketing strategist at NextGen Innovations, her mind thrived on connecting disparate dots into something revolutionary. The Project Ether pitch for Viridian Dynamics wasn't just another campaign. It was her magnum opus. Months of research, sleepless nights, and intuitive leaps had birthed a fully integrated, multi-channel strategy leveraging emerging social tech in a way no one else had dared. It was bold, it was risky, and it was utterly brilliant. Viridian, a notoriously conservative tech giant, needed a jolt. Sarah's idea was the defibrillator. Nervous but exhilarated, she shared the core concept with Mark Vance over coffee. Mark, the department's charismatic golden boy with a knack for taking credit, was also known as a sounding board. "Sarah, this is, wow, truly next level," he'd said, leaning in, eyes wide, with what she mistook for genuine admiration. "Let me noodle on it overnight, see if I can poke any holes before you run it past Sarah Chen." Sarah, valuing constructive criticism, handed over her preliminary deck. "Thanks, Mark. Any fresh eyes help." The next team meeting, chaired by their formidable director Sarah Chen, started routinely. Then Mark cleared his throat. "Sarah, team, I've been burning the midnight oil on Viridian. Had a wild idea I couldn't shake." Sarah Rivera froze. Word for word, slide for slide, concept for concept. He presented her Project Aether as Project Phoenix, the Viridian rebirth, complete with her unique terminology and phased rollout. The team was captivated. Sarah Chen beamed. "Mark, this is exactly the bold thinking Viridian needs. Inspired." Sarah Rivera felt the blood drain from her face. "Mark, that's remarkably similar to what I shared with you yesterday," she managed, voice tight. Mark turned, feigning innocent surprise. "Similar? Sarah, I appreciate the enthusiasm, but Project Phoenix came from a deep dive into Viridian's pain points last week. Maybe our research overlapped?" He gave a conciliatory smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Great minds, huh?" Sarah Chen, sensing friction, intervened. "Let's not get territorial. Mark's framework is compelling. He'll lead the project. Sarah R., your insights are valuable. Support Mark fully. We need a united front for Viridian." Just like that, Sarah was demoted to supporting the thief. When she tried to show Sarah Chen her time-stamped files later, the director waved her off. "Mark showed me his initial sketches dated before your chat. Focus on execution, Sarah. Don't be the idea hoarder." Mark had preempted her, fabricating dates. The trap was shut. Working under Mark was salt in the wound. He delegated grunt work, dismissed her suggestions on her strategy, and subtly painted her as difficult and possessive to the team. "Sarah's struggling to adapt," he confided faux sympathetically to a colleague within her earshot. "Change is hard when you're attached to old ways." The injustice was suffocating.
Rage simmered, a dark, potent brew. But Sarah wasn't impulsive. She wouldn't scream or quit. She would orchestrate. Sarah became the perfect lieutenant. Cool, professional, seemingly committed to Project Phoenix's success. "Mark, what if we tweaked Phase 2? She suggested one day, pointing to the social gamification element, the riskiest, most innovative part of her original idea. Instead of launching it broadly immediately, maybe a limited beta with influencers. It could mitigate potential backlash from Viridian's traditional user base and give us data to refine it." It sounded sensible, cautious even. Mark, eager to claim even the refinements as his own, loved it. "Great pivot, Sarah. See? Teamwork." He didn't see the trap, The beta would isolate the most volatile element, delaying its integration and crippling the campaign's core disruptive power. Meanwhile, Sarah initiated her own Project Shadow. She meticulously gathered her original evidence, dated cloud saves of her concept deck, email trails requesting research, even a time-stamped voice memo describing the idea recorded before their fateful coffee chat. But she needed more than proof of ownership. She needed proof of failure and a solution. Her masterstroke was Viridian. She leveraged an old contact from a previous role, Ethan Cole, a mid-level but influential product manager at Viridian. "Off the record, Ethan," she confided during a carefully arranged, casual industry meetup, "I have concerns about the execution direction of Project Phoenix. Some elements feel rushed. I'd value your gut instinct." She shared hypothetical concerns about the scaled-back gamification beta, framing it as a potential dilution of the campaign's impact. Ethan, intrigued and flattered by her candor, agreed the beta felt like playing it safe. "Viridian hired us for bold, Sarah, not safe." A clandestine channel was open. As Project Phoenix progressed under Mark's increasingly arrogant leadership, Sarah fed him more subtle optimizations, quote, suggesting specific, overly complex micro-influencers for the beta, who were expensive and known for fickle engagement, quote, proposing a minor but time-consuming integration with a niche platform Viridian's core audience barely used, diverting resources, quote, framing potential scalability issues as future-proofing necessities, leading Mark down a rabbit hole of unnecessary technical over-engineering. Each suggestion, delivered with helpful enthusiasm, subtly warped the project. Mark, blinded by his need to claim every success, swallowed them whole. The budget ballooned, timelines slipped. The core idea was getting buried under layers of Sarah's well-intentioned poison. The Viridian presentation day arrived. The next-gen team, Mark radiating confidence, faced Viridian's stern executives, including their formidable CMO, Helen Pierce. Mark began well, outlining the grand vision. Then came the beta results. Engagement was lukewarm. The complex influencers generated minimal buzz. The niche platform integration was a ghost town. Helen Pierce's expression turned glacial. "Mr. Vance, your bold vision seems to have shrunk in execution. This beta data is underwhelming. Where is the disruptive integration promised?" Mark floundered, blaming market unpredictability and beta limitations. He tried to pivot to the core strategy, but it felt hollow without the fully integrated live social element Sarah had conceived. It was a slow-motion car crash. The Viridian team exchanged disappointed glances. Mark's confidence evaporated, replaced with panicked sweat. Then Sarah spoke. Her voice was calm, cutting through the tension. "Alan, if I may, while the beta provided valuable learnings, I understand the disconnect. The original vision for Project Aether," she deliberately used the stolen name, seeing Mark flinch, relied on the full, immediate integration of the social gamification layer to create network effect. The beta approach, while cautious, inherently fragmented that potential. She paused, letting the implication hang that the caution was Mark's failing. Helen Pierce fixed her with a sharp gaze. "Go on, Ms. Rivera." Sarah didn't attack Mark directly. Not yet. She presented a concise, brilliant analysis of why the beta failed because it deviated from the core integrated approach. She used Viridian's own language, echoing concerns Ethan had shared. Then, the hammer. "Based on these learnings and the original strategic intent," she emphasized, "I propose Project Aether Ignition. We scrap the beta, we launch the full gamified experience integrated across Viridian's primary platforms next month. We target these specific, high-engagement macro influencers. She outlined a revised, streamlined, and aggressive plan that reignited the original fire, addressing the beta's shortcomings head-on. It was her idea, reborn and refined, presented with absolute clarity and conviction. The Viridian executives leaned in. Helen Pierce's icy demeanor thawed into keen interest. "Now that," she said, pointing at Sarah, "is the boldness we hired NextGen for. That makes strategic sense. Why wasn't this the primary approach?" Mark was speechless, pale, cornered. This was Sarah's moment. She didn't gloat. She simply stated facts, her voice steady but resonating with quiet authority. The original integrated concept, Project Aether, was developed by me 3 months ago. She slid a tablet toward Helen Pierce. On it, time-stamped documents, her voice memo, email chains, irrefutable proof of her authorship, dated well before Mark's claimed inspiration. The direction taken diverged significantly, leading to the results you've seen. Project Aether Ignition realigns with the core vision Viridian needs. The room was stunned. Sarah Chen looked from the damning proof to Mark's ashen face to Sarah Rivera's composed determination. Realization dawned hard and brutal. Helen Pierce looked at Mark with utter contempt. "Mr. Vance, you have some explaining to do. To your director. Viridian will only proceed with Ms. Rivera's plan led by her. We've wasted enough time." The fallout was swift and decisive. Mark Vance was suspended pending investigation. Sarah Chen, facing potential client loss and internal scandal, had no choice. The evidence was undeniable. Mark was terminated for gross misconduct and plagiarism. The official announcement cited a breach of trust and ethical standards. Sarah Rivera was named lead strategist on Viridian, now Project Aether. The campaign launched. It wasn't just a success, it became a benchmark, winning awards and significantly boosting Viridian's market position. Sarah's calculated downfall of Mark wasn't born of petty malice. It was a reclamation. She hadn't just exposed a thief, she had demonstrated superior strategy, resilience, and leadership under fire. Her revenge wasn't Mark's destruction, it was her own undeniable ascension, built on the ashes of his deceit. She hadn't just gotten her idea back, she had proven with cold, meticulous precision that true brilliance can outmaneuver even the slickest thief. The stolen idea had not been lost. It had merely been waiting for its rightful architect to reclaim it and light the fuse.